Hello, everybody. Let's get started at another stream. My name is Jan Dvorak, aka Storyteller, and today we'll be talking about routing in MeteorJS. Let me get some preparations here just to make sure that people are aware this is happening. It's a common thing, despite it being in the events and everything on Discord and elsewhere. It's still very common that people don't forget. So, quick reminder never or is always helpful. So that's one place and one more. So how is everybody doing? It's pretty cold here in Sendai in Japan. I think it'll be sort of somewhere close to 0 degrees Celsius outside. And as usual, the Japanese offices are a bit, let's say, windy or not really isolated. And I'm staying at a older building, so I'm hoping that the AC is going to come through and keep me warm before I will take. I'm not sure. I'll probably take a bath as I always do before the bed, because then I heat up, go under the bed, and I'm happy till morning. So let's put that here and let us get started. How is everybody doing? Let me know in the chat. Live on YouTube and Twitch, but for some reason I don't see anything from X. That's very interesting. Let me double check that if it's not just a... No, I'm live there. That's just StreamYards being StreamYards. So, all right, let's get set up in the background here. Should be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to create Meteor. Let's see how I can do this because I'm not at home. That means I don't have my two monitors to easily make it. So I have to do with virtual monitors, which are stuck in Pop! OS on top of each other. So I'll have to kind of share my entire screen, which not really desirable. And hopefully my Wi-Fi is going to stay stable as well. So entire screen. There we go. I'll make myself smaller like that. We'll be creating a React template. And we want to try React Flow Router. So this is all about routing. As you know, in React, we have React Router. That's kind of de facto, router, unless you are using one of the meta frameworks where usually it's like a file base, which I'm not fond of, just given not Meteors, but React component structure. So I want to try in this stream if we can get things going with flow routers. So flow router and React. So let's open this up. So we set Meteor, and we want it to be how was it again? React Flow Router. Or maybe I just put it in. Wait, where did I put it? There we go. I need to refresh. So can probably kill the console, and I want to open up here Pacosphere. And we'll be looking for flow router, specifically, let's see, sort by newest. Should probably be newest updated. So let's see if we can quickly find this. Which actually Flow Router Extra is the package specifically. The original is Kadira Flow Router, and we want to find. Looks like I will not be able to find it easily here. So let's go to Atmosphere, see if the search here will be better. Flow, there it is. Austria Flow Router Extra is the package we are looking for to add. That's the maintained version of Flow Router. So let's add that in. Originally, Flow Router was for Blaze, but today I want to really see if I can, could say, kind of go back from React Router back to Flow Router in my applications. So let's put that in, and we also want to quickly check here. We want to upgrade to the latest React. To make sure that we test it on the latest versions. So this will be also for me, you could say, bit of a relearning of Flow Router. And okay, 3.11 React candidate. I think 3.10 should be fine though, still. So it's ready for React. No underscore package, TypeScript definitions, great test coverage, up to dependencies, and also has support for fast render, but that's not what we kind of need. Let's see anything else. And then focuses on what it does best, which is routing. So I want to also kind of see if we can maybe get a bit. Probably not here. I will have to do like a bigger application to move to Flow Router to see if there's like any major differences between like the performance. So of course we have the Flow Router, route, and so on. We'll get to that. And let's start with this. The question though that I have is, oops, not what I want to show. Not what I want to show either, damn it. Got lost or went two up. Yes. question though is this just the server or do we go for both? I think it should be in the client. That's let's see. Wait, do we have a documentation? Okay, all docs in a single document. Let's jump that for our documentation. We don't need files, we just need this. So import create route, index route. And let me think. You have this dot render, that's from the old, that's for Blaze. Where's templating re-rendering? I think this is again Blaze, but let's just search for React and okay, that's strange. I'm pretty sure there was a section for React. So it'll be a bit of a experiment. We can, we have here different, these are Blaze helpers. Interesting. So we'll have to kind of see what we can get all of those working or not. So it's again still, even though it's ready for React and all that stuff, it still has a lot of the legacy of, should I say, a lot of legacy of the old Blaze one. So the flow router title for the headers, and then we have meta as well. I think we'll want that, but we'll want to get into there later. Fast render and inject data I don't think are ready just yet for that. Let's see. Oh man, completely forgotten where I saw the. Let's go to Wiki. Maybe that will be more up to date. Maybe not. Okay, that's a mystery. So we'll have to figure this out on our own. Or maybe another part is, it might be in the Meteor guide. I do believe that there is. There we go. Flow router. You over here. So let's increase the size here. And that's on the client side. Basic purpose of router is to match certain URLs and perform actions. So this all happens on client side, in the app's browser or mobile app container. So it is indeed on the client side. So let's get started on our UI app. Or maybe even more up. So here we have the flow router stuff. Render template using Blaze. Add React layout for React base. Let's take a quick look if we do have in the type something here. It was up. Let me also quickly see no comments. Again, if you have any questions, suggestions, feel free to add the comments. I will have to check it occasionally, sadly, because of just only the limit of one screen. But we'll try to get it. Can be used with Blaze layout and React layout for React-based app. So render a template using Blaze. Oh, here is React.js usage. So, but I think, oh, okay, no, it's up to date. Why wasn't it in the document? Interesting. The issue here I have is still using React Mounter, which is freaking old, and we don't want to have anything to do with it if we can avoid it. So this will be the, let's say, the challenge, because that's like React 13 or 14 at best. So we have here the main layout and about me. So what we'll try, because we have the app, we instead want to kind of get the hello and info in their own routes. So flow router dot route, and here we'll have, of course, the root. Then we'll do the settings. So there was a name. Let's name this, call this home. And then we have the action. Now this is where the things will get interesting. And we want to do another, which let's just say, let's call that info. Will be the info. And I'm kind of curious if we could maybe use here the root or some sort of the render. Because then if that would be the, actually, we can kind of look at the old React Mounter to see, maybe we can also update it or fork it and update it. Let's see if we have any maybe active forks. One updated 3 weeks, another 10 months ago. Let's look here. What do we have here? So use straight root and updated peer dependencies. So that's exactly what I would have done anyway. And let's see, using layout manager. So that's actually a pretty good thing, that you can have like a layout and into that enter the content like this. So this like with options. Oh no, sorry, that's fine. So I'm wondering maybe if we can get to the, you could say, minimum of what is being done here without having to kind of get this package and without my kind of goal is to always limit the number of dependencies and all the stuff. So another thing is like DOM ready. I don't want to do that. I have here build root node from utils. I think that's might be actually okay. I'll see what you have on server. So we do have something that we don't have to really worry about. So we have to see the client. It seems something with DOM ready. I think we can potentially skip that. And then we have get the root node. And then we have the mounter itself. So get root nodes. We'll get body and it will insert it there. And it does the work there. Create root, React DOM client. That's what we are looking here for. Create root. So we already have that. And that create root. Then we just do render. Okay. We have the root node. Okay, so it's then using that's why it has the layout, so you can kind of put the so it will kind of put in the layout, and in the layout you will then put in whatever you want, which layout class regions options. Thinking how to best build. Okay, let's since we don't need a layout, I think we can get away with just just putting in the component itself. Let's do. Let's see what's going to happen in that case. So oops. Let's actually stop quickly here. Let's see. And let's get back to it. So I'm thinking we'll do just we're gonna copy the get the root node. That's not here. The problem is the build root node. That's where do we have that coming from? That's from the utils. Oops. Let's see here. Build root node. Let's just be nasty and put it right here. So we have that covered. So we have the get root node, and now we have the mounter itself. React.create element. Okay, that's, I don't recall. Don't remember seeing that one. Create element. Let's see if it's even still supported. Create element lets you create a React element. It serves as an alternative to writing JSX. Okay. So that's still fine, but what exactly is element? Create element. So it does the layout class and then regions. So let's just try to get the it gets the root node and then it renders the layout, and through that it puts in the regions. So what is the first type and then props? Okay, so that's how it does. So it does the type and then it puts in the properties, in this case regions, which would be the content. And it stores them for later reuse. So it doesn't exit, it stores them, otherwise it renders it. So I think what we might see once we get this initially working without this, well, without this reuse, what's going to happen? Because of course it will reinstall, so this will make it more performant. But I just want to try to render it without it. Let me know in the comments, especially watching later, if you are using a flow router with React, if you are still using this. So what we want to do here, and then again, is let's see. We want to do const root get root node. Now, question is if root ID get element by ID, no root node, return root node. Okay, so we can just push in this ID and everybody is happy. And we don't have any properties for root. Of course not. It might be probably related to some server-side rendering or other things. So we have root. And once we have the root, we just use the create root from our React itself. So we're here, create root. There we have the root. And let's see, back to over here. And we have to look on, so it's just the root. And then it's .render, of course. And late, and it shows. So we do CR render, and in this case, it will be hello. Hello instead of app. Of course, we need to make sure that the imports are correct. And here, let's just do the info and kind of see how far we can get there. Which means with that, we can comment Meteor startup, save it. Let's run it. Let's see what's going to happen. I have no idea. It's been years since I've been using Flow Router. So I am, say, as expecting as anybody of you watching, not knowing what we'll get. So that has started. Oh, okay. Let's get localhost 3000 online. Well, look at that. It worked on the first try. Here we have the hello, click me stuff. Let's go to info. And we get the console log. All right, success, stream done. See you later. Just kidding. This is where this is kind of where things begin, and it does make me should I say it's curious how far we can take it. Of course, the thing here is that first of all, let's try to simplify this by just doing this for root. In this case, root being our React target. And let me make this a bit bigger. And of course, it always does that. Let's stick with 150. I think that's good enough. Just checking. Okay. So we have that going. Let's see if this we can just get here for the React target and make it still work. So one Another thing that I want to kind of try is better figuring out the layout. If there is a way how we can get it without the React mounter. Or maybe another thing would be to maybe potentially better figure out how can we, well, we can of course use the updated React mounter, which would be one option. Maybe the best. Have to kind of look more into it, and if we can get, because of course what we can do is we have our layout, we can kind of put it over here, like have all the other layout components, and then just have this as the page as a child, which is possible. I'm just going to quickly put it here. Actually, let's not do TypeScript today. Layout. Export. Const layout. We'll have, of course, the children. And we have return. Like that. We do navigation here. And we have main where the children will be. And then we have, of course, we have to have footer. So that's layout. If it comes to it, we can always do layout like this. Of course, it messes up this. So we put in the layout around the hello inside, but then that becomes repetition. If you maybe have a changing layout, then that's one possible option. And you can see it's right here. Very nice. No complaints. And then we have these two. They can probably make that a one-liner as well. Looking at how we can thinking, what if we root above here? We can do root render in the action, and here we can do, instead of hello, there to be info. No longer need the app. And that should. So if we go to info, you can see there was a bit of loading, which I think is something we can also fix or like adjust as we want. But let's quickly go to our layout and navigation. And let's see what we can do about links. And it does has some, we have to check on the active class, how to get it. Kind of curious. Yeah, it's mostly Blaze here, so probably only Blaze, so all those things are. So what we need is to get to this path 4 and how to get that in our. So we'll have a ref. Of course, we can hard code it. Hello, and we want info, but we want to, because that will not always be possible. Or it might be better to kind of use the flow router if there are the options for that. Just makes the life easier, especially if you have changing routes. So we'll have to check into that. So flow router. Let me check what we have in there, or maybe it will. Oh, come on. Cannot find because I maybe don't have the types package installed. So let's just do it like this. I think it's going to work if we do info and just this. Let's take a look. So we have hello and we have info, and it does work, and you can see the loading there. So this might be one good way to optimize kind of your bundles potentially as well through this, if you then make that loading laser loading. But let us see what we have here in the router. Router. Trigger subscriptions. That's a good question. I'm kind of wondering if it's still. That far. Or actually, yeah, let's do this rest. Let's see what else. Maybe just all and see. To check here in the console. So I guess I have to find where we put it. Where was the documentation? Oh, actually, no, it's potentially here. So go. So we can programmatically. Yeah, so we have the helpers, hooks. And we have refresh, reload, path, regex, get params, set params. And let's here look at the URL or path methods. I think that might be what we are looking for. Flowrouter.url. We have the path, and we have the params, and then we have the query strings. If we do path, okay, so it actually finds it. Current, get route name. So it looks to me though. See what's the render here. This is from on the inside hooks. Available only if application has templating and Blaze or Blaze HTML package installed. So not something we want to. So that's Blaze specific render. Let's see group. Use group routes for better route organization. Okay, so you can add like a prefix and then everything below that. Okay, so that's nice. That's we have similar things elsewhere. So that's something that I would definitely use. So that's nested grouping, yes. Product and wrap group name. So it has everything we want. It looks like though for the path. Excuse me. Okay, so it has path or route name. Just check here, path. What does path do? Okay, so that's like, you know, that's, let's do then flow router dot URL. And same thing over here. And we can check how we have named them. And home and info. Which is what I want to do here to kind of test this out. It might be also good if you have like very long route that you just want to get to. Then you can just put in the name and it will get to it. So, I would say it's not that often used these days. Just, you know, kind of usually you type it out. Then okay, hello and info. It still has the correct link, so that works. Now we know how to create the links, and we don't no longer need that because we found our API. All right, everybody. So we found that it's working. We can then start grouping things. Can get all the other things as we would anywhere else. And on, let's see, on the main, it's time what I want to try here. Want to try here lang, and that will be on info. and I want to try how const length flow router get param length, and oh no, sorry. Also, the is loading has been on the template. So that's actually something I want to try. I want to move the loading of this into the router and see what happens. But for that, I want to get the lang here. Another thing I want to see if it will handle undefined. So hello. And no, there is no route for the path info. Okay, let's try to actually go for the information name as a name instead of the just the length, because I think it also has the path, it has the params, path or route's name, I think. So let's interesting. So info, it cannot handle the param is required, which let's go back here. So the parameter is required. If we jump to over here, path for list.show, I think that's, I do wonder if that still works, even because what we see from this, let's jump up. Yeah, here we go. List ID matches params, so it has to be lists in the param, and then we'll have, or the pattern of the param here. Then we have query params here. So that's, I would say, one benefit of React Router, or like maybe extra feature, that it has the optional params, but at the same time, that's a relatively new feature as well. So I am going to remove that to make it easier. And let's see if, okay, now it finds it. Interestingly, now that we have changed the name, it's still fine, it's there. Okay, so we have that, and oops, let's see what else can we put. Let's see what else we can put. Active route. Redirecting. Here we have dynamically load modules. Oh, wait on. Okay, so that's how we can also do stuff. Wait on, wait for index to load over the wire. So you can really start optimizing things here very nicely. And I want to now check in our route. How can we move loading stuff there? Path, then we have options with name and any property and hooks. Okay, so you can even put in different properties, and then we have hooks, which we have the action, and you have the data hook. So we get in params and query strings, and we are returning Mongo cursor objects, or it's triggered right after resources in wait on and wait on resources hooks are ready. Okay, so we can do. So what we'll do here is wait on. So it will be a function like that, which in our case, we don't have to use subscribe. We'll be doing return meteor.subscribe links. So is loading will not be necessary, or let's just comment this out. And then the next step would be data. So that's where we find things. So data. And with data, we have, of course, params coming in and query strings. But in this case, we are super simple. We've got that. But the question is in React, will be how do we how the data are actually passed. And of course, the imports are messed up because WebStorm is unhappy. So we have this here. We have find for everything. And I want to see here. What do we get? Well, I'll just kind of go a bit of a experiment here to see if that's what we are actually going to get. Will be probably something like that. So we've got undefined on. Let's see what are the objects. Yikes. Info on 7. It is all undefined. So the wait on is, let's try. how to wait on if we have the use find still here. So that's going to perform. So that, it waits on it of the subscription, and we can use find, and we get the data. I would still prefer if we can get the data like that. And this is where maybe it's a bit of a too much magic, because it then does. Okay, so in this case it's find one. Or post. So in this case, okay, it has to come here as in the action. So almost there. So in the action, we first have, of course, params, query strings, and then we have data. So if we put links, data like this, and we just do links. That should be, and that works. Or maybe not. It has not loaded, but now it loads. So if I do reload, it's not loaded. That's interesting. That says it's reactive. I do wonder. If it maybe comes later and it just does not re-render. Wait, a cursor. Oh, I maybe because I did find dot fetch. And now it gets there. Interestingly, on first render, it does not render. We have a mystery on our hands. Why would be that? Data here in this example is find one. So we added the fetch there. And you have to wait on. So wait on function ready. Call when computation is ready using tracker. So you return promise, subscription, or tracker stuff. So we can then just return an array of subscriptions. Or we can just do ready. When using tracker. Okay, that's interesting. Array of trackers. Return new promise. Meteor method via promise. Dynamic imports. So we can import different stuff. That's pretty neat. And import and subscriptions, you can also combine them. Think wait on resource before action hook, allowing to load necessary files, images, fonts before rendering a template. So that's, let's see what we have here. And waiting, hooks is triggered right after wait on. So it just kind of gets triggers while waiting that you can do. Data in other hooks. No, that's where we kind of started. I'm kind of surprised that it does not. On the first initial render, it does not provide data. That is very, very unusual. Not exactly sure, and it does not. Let's see. In my Meteor, in my mini Mongo, do we have that information? Yes, so it's already there, but it does not re-trigger. Let us look here on the. Okay, we are on the data. It's triggered right after all resources in wait on and wait on resources hooks are ready. And return Mongo cursor object and so on. Let's try to add just, with find. Because if we return maybe cursor, it might have some extra stuff in there to go through. Okay. So the cursor, then it gets converted. Or does it? Well, it is here. So what is, it's reactive. It is then processed. So that is strange. Like seeing this behavior, it might also have maybe fast render and similar will help with this. Personally, for myself, looking at this behavior, I would probably do use find instead. Use the hooks, React hooks. We do have them, so it's not a problem. And that's that. So we do have a workaround for this, and there's probably a little bit more. Now then, I want to think a little bit aloud here because I think for the most part I'm kind of finished here. Given this updated, I assume all the other stuff is working. We've shown it works on React as well. Of course, you can always use React router as well. This is kind of where I want to think a little bit here because in a layout, like with the universe, I want to say call it layout, but all the containers and everything would kind of compromise the big surrounding. And this is maybe probably where we'll have to kind of check, but it's possible that the mounter with its the React mounter that we looked at previously, where we kind of stole these things from, has the kind of keeps the layout alive, because normally if we switch from page to page here, like it has to remount all the things. So thinking that the mounter keeps that alive, the layout and everything, so it doesn't have to remount, which would be bad for performance, that you have to reload everything like we have right now here in this sample. And then you just define all the different stuff. The problem though is, or what I'm thinking potentially, for example, if I have like an actual different layout, but the containers around it, like INTL and similar, are the same. It's just that the looks is different. How that would go? Go over here. It's actually it's still a bit of an issue in React router. I don't even remember now at the top of my head how I actually solved this. But that's a solvable problem. And it's doable. It's also kind of surprising that still, React render is for Flow Router is still around, and some people have updated it. I might be interested in maybe kind of cloning that, checking out the missing official version if I start moving back here to using React with Flow Router again, because I'm not entirely sure that going forward with React Router is going to be an option, or maybe I can utilize it here much more, especially like with the wait on. Not sure about the data, as we've seen that one is a bit iffy, but wait on so far works great. And the question there is, in wait on and similar, okay, templating with data. Let's article template, the create loading template. So there must be, okay, so while waiting, you will render loading. And of course, unknown data, we have that. So let's add that here while waiting. And I can just do that. And instead of info, I'm going to say loading to kind of mimic what was there. It shows there for a little bit, as you can see, but it doesn't solve our problem. Still, it doesn't solve our problem with this thing. While waiting on no data, not found. We don't need that. Data, return articles collection, find one. Again, I will try to put back in the fetch. And of course, on hot module reload, it's fine. Navigating is fine. Let's do a full reload. And that's gone. Even though it's in there. It's in mini Mongo. So I'm wondering how much action is or is not reactive itself. Let's go back here to the main. There was this other thing. Equal query params once. I don't care about it, that. Where do we go from here? How can we try to make it more reactive? But we don't even see like any console, any of the update. Thing is, it's supposed to wait when the subscription is ready, but it does it so fast that there is no time to get the data into Minimongo. So they don't show up. I think like that. Which makes me also wonder if it's reactive, if it just does it like only once like this. It's a very curious state of events. I think it should be reactive, so there's like no reason why it should. Let's quickly look at fast render. Package on use. So this needs to it needs to be in lib. Oh, they have this dot register. That's interesting. It's on server. Fast render true. Very, very curious. So it says fast render. Let's check auto scroll. Florical says I'll scroll to the top of the page after navigation. Auto scrolls is the page to remain same scroll position, similar with React Router on the navigation between routes, which people are often surprised by. The little snippet below would fix this behavior to more common. Yay. So we can just put this into our main as well. Or let's put it somewhere else. No, we don't need jQuery animation. That's not necessary. You have the helpers, you have the hooks. Let's just quickly check. Params, go group, initialize. We saw that. Wait, initialize. Let's check that here. By default, Florida initializes the routing process in a Meteor startup callback. This works for most applications, but some applications have custom initialization, and Florida needs to initialize after that. So that's where Florida wait comes to save you. You need to call it directly inside JavaScript file after that. Whenever your app is ready, call Florida initialize. Okay. Not for us. On route registered. This API is especially designed for add-on developers. They can listen to any registered route and add custom functionality to Flow Router. This works on both server and client alike. And this always makes me a bit teary. This is kind of the old promise of Meteor, that you can add a package, and in there will be definition for Flow Router or something. And then you could add additional functionality. Just actually one more thing that I want to look more into. Because the issue I have is same thing with group. Similar. Yes, how do I load them? That's the if I had a package, then it's easy because I just have the definition there, added to client server, whatever. Boom, it's there, ready to go. Not a problem, or kind of like to have into like the both sections. Ready to go. And I'm thinking, as we saw there, for loading resources, we could potentially add from imports. We could import other routes if it manages to get to that route. So similar like nesting in in there. So you have a group that if you kind of route, no, let me think. How would you do that here? Because in React Router, when I have, of course, I have like lazy routed routes that I lazy load whenever they get hit, which then has the additional routes there. Here I would most likely have I would have, in theory, I would have I think here like of maybe triggers enters. We have the redirects, but I think if it's also potentially used to load in the group. Oh, it has all the hook. Group has all the other hooks as everything else. So action, route, current. It could theory like have its own layout as well if it went with the. That will be probably another stream to kind of check out, and I will maybe invite Dr. Dimitriou to come in and talk about this. But if we can find a time for in both of our schedules, as you can probably guess, I'm getting tired. It's almost midnight or half an hour to midnight here. I'm just kind of no longer encoding because, and that's I think the kind of the problem with this late hours that I'm just too tired to code anything significant. So that will be something I'll have to fix going forward. Who knows? Maybe I'll start coding in the morning, early morning. So it will be late, or like evening for Americans. But then I miss Europe, so difficult. Let's go see. That's for a different time. Okay, so options. So I'm like, looking at this, it's a bit different structure, but I could replace my React router with it, especially if we look at React Router 7 and let's see, let's switch to API reference here, maybe. No, that's not what I want. So let's, for example, say here data loading. So let's just jump here to route. It's really has, if you look here at the, it's pretty much program. It's much more, no longer using components, it's just using function. And see here, we have layout, we have routes. So it's not that. It's not that different, I would say, in many aspects. We have nested routes, so we have route, index, route. You can do this today with the component routes and everything as well. But from what I've kind of read through this, if you do that, you kind of lose on, you won't have the access to new functionalities. So you pretty much start with this. You are starting to define, of course, you have the outlet here. We saw something similar there as well. You kind of start losing some of the new functionalities that React has, and eventually it's probably going to go away. So you start having, I am wondering now, looking that they have these imports like this. This might be not automatically laser loaded as well. Either way, looks like there. Yeah, and here we go. This is the component routes that are kind of previous to, that's React Router 6 and before. Note that these routes do not participate in data loading, actions, code splitting, or any other route module features. So their use case are more limited than those of the route module, which is the one above, where we have like route, where you just have functions. That's the old setup. So so either way, no matter what happens, I will have to rewrite my routes. And the question for me as a Meteor is, do I want to go back to Flow Router, or do I want to rewrite everything into this new React router? And I'm really tempted to go back to Flow Router, because also potentially in the future I might decide to switch to Solid, in which case Flow Router would be better because I don't have to again redefine all my routes, change everything. It would already be there. That's something still I have to really investigate what these new routes give us. Let's go check maybe plan set rendering. At the same time, I think a little bit, of like pre-render static stuff here. Okay, that's interesting. It's it is definitely something that is keeping me up at night, trying to figure out exactly how to get this sorted out. Of course, here it's made very simple, but the what's not really set in this upgrade guide is that eventually we'll have to probably move to the route module instead of the component ones. So, and that's like big thing, how to proceed, because kind of also going seeing like going back to flow router might seem as going back. So yeah, let me know in the comment section what do you think? Have you used flow router before or not? What are your thoughts on the React and React router changes? Should we go back to flow router? Should we kind of stick with React router or maybe something else? And I think that's kind of like the big question for Meteor itself as well, especially like with flow router where it has the subscriptions and data management. Yeah, both options kind of have it completely in the components or be it part of the router, or at least a mix, which is what I'll probably end up with. Subscriptions on the route side where possible, because sometimes it just comes kind of in the component. You need to fix those things. So still to be determined, I guess. more to do. Anyway, my next stream is going to be on the 30th. I'll be probably on the 20th for our Meteor dispatches. That's where I'll be. So that's this Friday. And on the 30th, it's more like a general review of the year, planning for next year. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see how or where I end up. There's some quite big changes. Big changes coming down for me. So I will see you on the 30th at the same time. It's going to be no coding, just talking. Who knows, maybe we'll code a little bit, but probably not so much. Just talking, review Japan, what's up for Meteor in next year as well, and where do I kind of fit into that picture. So I'll see you there, and we'll kind of, one of the big things there is going to be looking at what were my predictions for last year as well, or for the current year, how well did I fulfill that? So, and predictions for next year, yes. And I'm rambling, so it's time to end it. If you like what I'm doing, or would you like to see me improve and do more, and in general contribute more to open source, you can find me on GitHub/sponsor/StorytellerCZ, where you can sponsor me and get our benefits as well. Some sponsor where I have and I need to do more with. With that, thank you very much for watching. Looking forward to your comments about Flow Router and React Router. And we'll continue the conversation in the comments and beyond, hopefully. With that, have a good day, good night. And I will see you on the 30th for the end of the year review.